How's it going today, guys? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to install your front and rear takedown pins on your AR lower receiver. If you want to see more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share to help support the channel. This is another video in the series or YouTube playlist on my channel called How to Build Your AR15. You'll need your 2 takedown pins, your 2 detents, 2 springs, and then if you have the threaded end of your lower, you will need the threaded screw that goes in there. You're also going to want some type of clippers to clip down your springs. If you don't have the threaded end, you'll have to install this when you install your buffer tube for the receiver end plate. We're going to do the longer one first for the front. Depending on how hard it is to get it in and get it out, you might want to trim this spring a little bit. Just going to drop it in the hole in the side. Going to take the detent and stick a pointy end right into the middle of the spring. I'm going to push the detent in. Once I get it all the way flush, I'm just going to rotate the takedown pin and the detent will slide right into the slot. Make sure you keep a little bit of pressure on the detent so it doesn't go flying. Push it in just like that. Rotate. And then it clips in very easy. Because of how tight this is, I'm definitely going to have to trim down that spring a little bit. You can just take a very small Allen key, push that in, and then pull up on it. Just make sure to keep pressure so that doesn't go flying. So I cut 2 coils off, and then I'm going to stick it back inside. You can play around with this depending on your lower or the lower parts kit you have to see what you might need. It's still not where I'd like it, so I'm going to cut 1 more coil off. It's really close, but I'm just going to cut 1 more off. And that feels better. Still tight enough to where it's not pushing out on its own, but it's easy enough to where I can push it, it pops out, and it works. So that's for the first one. You have your hole here where your spring goes in, detent is as well. You're going to line up that hole with your takedown pin grooves and detent holes. So it'll be just like that. I'm gonna drop that in, make sure that's aligned. I'll take my detent, I'll drop that in next, make sure that goes down, and then I will take the spring and drop that in. You really only need 3 or 4 coils sticking out from the end of the receiver, so I'm going to cut that down to 4 just to be safe. Need at least that. I'm going to stick the cut end away from me, so towards your stock. Right now where I cut it, there's 3 sticking out. My threaded Allen screw, push it on there and then thread it in. Go ahead and throw it on my Allen key. It's on the Allen key. I'm just gonna push that spring in and then thread. You can turn your receiver for this. Makes it a little bit easier. There shouldn't be a ton of resistance. Just make sure you're not cross-threading it. You won't need Loctite for this because the receiver end plate will be butting up against this, holding it in. All you want is it flush up against the receiver. You shouldn't feel the screw itself protruding, so it'll look something just like that. It's flat, flush with the end of the receiver. For the most part, this feels good. It is nice and tight, but at the same time, it's not going to push out on its own. When you're cutting it, start with more, and then if you need to cut off more, you can, but this is fine for the most part. If there's something flat up against the body, like my finger, it's not going to push it out. You have to actually push down on it, and it comes out. So doesn't feel bad there. Now, if you didn't have the threaded screw, when you're installing your buffer tube and your end plate and all that stuff, you'll have to push the spring on there and then put your plate over and tighten down the castle nut over it, and then you'll have to test it from there. This with Aero Precision just makes it a little bit nicer. And because these grind a little bit, I like to put a little bit of oil on the takedown pins themselves, and then you can put a little bit in there where the detent is so that glides a little bit smoother. So I'll just put some on there, rub it in, take a small dab, put it in there, and I will do the same for the rear. Just take a little oil, go around it, and drop a small piece inside. And then just actuate that a few times. And that'll make it run a little bit more smooth. If you want to see more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share to help support the channel. If you have any questions or want to see anything specific, feel free to comment down below. Thanks for watching.